Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Times podcast. I am Maick Ofel, your host. And if you ever imagine how it is for an immigrant to live in the US, get ready. Send all your questions to our chat because I'm here with my good friend Victor Ieks, and he's gonna tell us a lot of stuff that people don't normally tell you when they're talking about this experience. But don't worry, you're about to meet him right after our podcast intro. Hey man, how are you, Victor?
What's up? Hello, guys. How's it going?
I was thinking a lot, and uh, I was thinking, when was the day that we became friends? Because you were my student there. And then it came to me that I don't know for you, but for me, it started on that hot dog stand. I think we had like regular classes at this school. And I was sitting in front of the school thinking about life. For some random reason, you went there too. And we started to chat. And then it clicked. We had this bond created. It was a beautiful moment. And how much have you changed since then, man?
The first thing is, it was not like that. It was not like that. I remember you used to be like closer to Piccoli or like the other guys, and I was like, man, I love his classes. Like, I want to be his friend. Come on. So I kind of planned that day. So
Planned.
yeah, I was like, man,
I don't know that story, by the
I'm
way.
gonna talk. Yeah, I said that to myself, and I was like, man, I'm going to talk to him. So we went outside. We didn't eat anything.
Mhm.
Actually, like we just started talking about like music. Then you started talking about how you became like a teacher
Mhm.
there. You talked about your band. And in the end, we kept in touch and never stopped. So that's how. And how much I changed. So back then, I was like in my second or third month studying English. So
Mhm.
a lot happened. I was 18 at the time. I am now 25. So 7 years, a very long time already. So all I can say is everything changed. Like I'm a new person in every single like meaning of this word, change. I became better at things. So I would say I'm not where I want to be, but I am a lot better and understanding myself a lot better,
Mhm.
which makes all the difference.
Was one of the thing that I think the hot dog day was another day then.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had hot dog.
Yeah.
And then after that, you became vegan.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true. Yeah. No, I wasn't exact. I was vegetarian for a few months,
same fucking thing, man.
almost in the vegan thing, but I stopped being. That's a story for another podcast, by the way. It was because of the ethics studying that I was doing.
Yeah,
But I remember that day on the hot dog stand talking about self development. One thing we had in common, we talked a lot about like difficult moments in life. It was a dark moment for me. My mom was treating cancer, remember? And I
yeah,
don't know why, man, but I felt comfortable in sharing that with
yeah.
you. And said, man, this is a nice guy. It's very easy for men to make friendship. It's that easy. We start talking about music, and then on the other day, oh man,
Exactly.
it's difficult. My mom has cancer, and no, she's fine now. Okay. Well,
Thank
if you
God.
ever watch this, mom, I love you.
If you ever understand that,
Yeah.
like,
Oh man, we forgot the basics. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
yeah, so my name is Victor. I am 25 years old. I lived in the US for the last 3 years. I lived in three different states. I lived in Colorado. But first, New Jersey, then Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've been to Florida for the last year. And I got here like probably a month ago, less than a month ago. So
Everything is fresh there.
yeah, like I've been there for 3 years. I was by myself, like no family at all. All my family was here, was there. Like I I entered the country in the middle of the pandemic. So it was tough around here. It was tough around there, and all I can say is I survived.
Man,
That's
oh,
it.
you're not a ghost. Good, oof, man.
Yeah.
Man, your story is a bit crazy. First, because male au pair is kind of unusual. That's maybe I'm wrong, but it's a perspective that I have that normally the families speak girls. You went there during the pandemic that Americans are not very famous to have like open borders and like come here, you know. So, but let's start from the beginning. When we met, you barely spoke like any English. You know, from my student's perspective, how was this journey for you? The whole dynamic course and everything.
So you gotta put yourself like into the culture. Like you need to leave your comfort zone. Like don't watch anything in Portuguese. Watch things in English. Not only that, but study the book. The
Mhm.
method is effective if you study and follow everything. So if you're not listening to the audios, like studying 30 minutes of English every day and having classes, I'm sorry, you're not going to be an English speaker or a good English speaker.
Mhm.
So it comes from our effort. So at the time, I was going there to Times Cambui a
Mhm.
lot.
Shout out to you guys.
So I think I finished my course. I think like until today,
Mhm.
I am still the second student with more hours.
Ah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. The first one's Piccoli. Piccoli, man, that guy's a legend.
He is
Everybody knows him. Like he finished the course with over 1,000 hours.
actually more than 2,000 because he did another course after
Of
that.
course,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So after him, like it was me. I finished the course with 788 hours.
Mhm.
So it takes a lot of effort. You cannot simply like go there and like think that for some miracle you're going to start speaking English.
Yeah, you need to put yourself out there to interact in the classes. So, something that I was very interesting. I remember at the beginning, I used to kind of be a little picky on you because you sometimes would pop up some expression in Portuguese. Like we were having a conversation class and we don't do translation. So it's like, oh, teacher, how do you say, somebody asks, the house where the chickens stay? Oh, chicken house. Oh, or hen house. And Victor will say, oh, yeah, galinheiro, right? And I say, oh, man, don't do that.
Right, bro. Fuck.
And I used to say, every time you speak Portuguese in an English class, an English teacher dies around the world. So don't do that because I don't want to die. And then eventually you became an English teacher too, which was beautiful to see.
Yeah, I was not really like a really good teacher. I had really
Come.
good teachers at the time. And to be honest, we were already in the middle of the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
and things were tough. We were going to the school to have like online classes, and it's so much better when you have the students in front of you. You
Yeah.
can tease them, they tease you, and you feel better. Actually, at the time when I was a student, like I used to go to the school and it used to be like so good. I used to feel so good about myself, about everything. The interactions were so light, and I have so many good memories, from that time. And I still don't, I'm not like satisfied with being a teacher because of how everything's going
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. But back then, I was very, I don't think I did my best. But if I look at that, like, go deeper into that, I will see that I was actually a good teacher. Just I didn't feel like that because I didn't have the students in front of me.
Ah,
The
okay.
way I had, like, we built connections at the time. Like
Yeah.
Mike and me, like we are still friends, and we are friends since that time. Pachi, another teacher,
Mm-hmm.
so we are still friends and all. So that's what caught me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, I'm not bonding with anyone, you know. But it was a really good time working I worked in Cambuí.
Mm.
Cambuí? Foda. I worked in Cambuí,
Yes.
and it was awesome. Like, it was awesome. I think I was there for a couple months before I went to the US,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was awesome.
And teaching is a life-changing experience, and many of the teachers that I talk here in the podcast, it always starts as a kind of an accident, and then I think it's kind of you are born with this, and then you start doing these connections, and then okay, you can change the area that you are working, but the teacher in you will eventually pop up. Let me take a look at the chat here, okay? Hello, guys. Oh, there's a question for you, Fabiano. Oh, how much did that? I have no idea, but it's probably more than I am willing to pay in case it's not here the next episode. Okay, the Hulk owner is actually staring at me right now. So yeah, uh, shout out to you guys. If you have your questions, guys, just bring them on. And Victor, why did you decide to learn English? What was the first thing? Oh, I need to learn English.
So that's crazy. I was at the time trying to get my driver's license, and we were having the classes before you go and do the tests
Mm-hmm.
and the driving tests. So I met a girl there.
Ah, there's always a girl.
It was lesbian, but yeah.
Okay.
So she started working for commercial, and well, suddenly she called me, and I'm like, what the heck? I remember at the time I was 18 and I wanted to serve the army.
Mm.
And when she called me, she was like, hey, why don't you come to the school? My mom was beside me.
Mhm.
And to today, my mom regrets that she couldn't pay, like a lot of years ago, for a course for me to
Mhm.
do something. We didn't have any money, but she still blames herself. So when that opportunity came to get like that the discount that I got, I was like, okay, should I really do that? My mom was like, just fucking do it. What the fuck? So we started from there, and I never left. We kept in touch, and that's how I started having the classes and all. It was crazy. Like, I was never expecting that. And in the end, I didn't serve the army because I thought English is going to give me more than the army.
Really?
Yeah, like, I love the idea of going to serving my country,
Mhm.
But at the same time, I was like, English is something that can open more doors, more
Mhm.
opportunities
Yeah,
ahead.
you are the living proof that exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So after you were already studying English, it was when it popped up, like, oh, I think I'll go abroad. How? When did you decide? Like, I'll move from Brazil.
So there's always a girl. So I was dating that girl, and it was like horrible how things
Mm.
went. I'm not toxic at all, at
Mm.
all. And things were being toxic for me,
Mhm.
and I didn't really want to like break up or anything. But in the end, she
I
broke up
remember
with
you
me.
told me about this when we were in the bar
Yeah, that
having a beer.
bitch.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that now, man. Damn, all these stores are popping up.
So,
I was drinking a red ale. It was delicious. Okay, go on, man. Sorry.
man, I really don't remember that. But, well, so because of her, I already knew about becoming an au pair
Mm-hmm.
and working in the US, paying not much,
Mm-hmm.
like it's affordable. I just had to sell my motorcycle.
Ah,
So
yeah.
when she broke up with me, the very next day, I sold my motorcycle, and I talked to them about quitting. In the end, they helped me a lot. And well, I was ready to go when COVID starts. And when everything happened, I was like, really? Now I have like no job, no nothing. My money was like running short. And in the end, everything just happened.
But
It
why
was supposed to be, you know.
why au pair, man? Because it's very unusual. I had the impression that normally the families normally pick up girls to work there with them.
Yeah, so I had experiences in the past with kids.
Mhm.
I love kids. I used to take care of kids, and I had the experience. My
Mhm.
brother is Down syndrome, so this is one more thing that counts. And I do, like, it's been a while since I last did it, but
Mhm.
I started doing volunteer work when I was 15 or 16, and everything counts as
People
experience.
overestimate the power of doing this, but is it counts a lot. It weighs a lot.
Even for companies, because if you put, like, if you didn't do anything for a while and
Mhm.
you justify, oh, I was doing like social work or
Mhm.
anything, they're going to be like, wow, so this guy was probably paying to work, so he
Mhm.
likes to work, so you can count.
Shows a bit of empathy too.
Exactly. So he knows how to deal with problems
Mhm.
also, because he's been through a lot of problems and other people's problems. So au pair is really cheap. I don't know nowadays, but back then, like in 2019 or 2020, I paid, I think, $4,000. Was pretty much nothing. And with that money, you cannot go like anywhere. I think to go on a cruise, you would spend more money,
Yeah,
and to
probably.
go like to Rio,
To
you
go
know.
to Fernando de Noronha, you're gonna spend more.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm young. I know how to take care of kids. I'm good at it. So when I had this idea, I was like, I'm going there to work
Mhm.
and study, because you get $500 to study there.
You were very mature for an 18-year-old
Nah,
guy. No, okay,
not at all,
no,
bro. Nah, nah.
we always do stupid things. But man, I don't know. I'm not saying this just because you are my friend, but it's hard to think of a guy under 20s that would say, I have to do something with my life." They will normally run for like, my father, my, or they would blame someone, and you took the responsibility. That's something kind of scarce, to see.
I didn't have any choice, man.
No, yeah, yeah,
That's the
that's
thing.
true.
Like, I I came from a simple family,
Hmm.
so for how long would I live with my parents?
Yeah.
You know, because my plan was to leave the house at the age of 18, and I couldn't. I was in the army. Like, in the end, everything worked. At
Okay.
the age of 22, I left the house. I was in another country. I already had in my mind, when this all ends, I'm not going back to my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
That's not part of the plan. I'm going to do something else. You know.
Were your parents supportive, man, when you told them? Like, how was the mom? It's like, hey, I'm going abroad.
So my dad didn't believe, so he didn't really say anything
Mm-hmm.
until like really close to the date I
Uh-huh.
was getting the plane. My mom, she was like, "Son, you're not going. Come on, look at this COVID and everything happening. You're not going." And I was like, yeah, I am. I just need to wait for a little bit more. I can find another job. That's when times kicked in. So,
Yeah.
um, so it's funny to think how things simply, like, in the end, worked so well, you know,
Yeah, but you had to put yourself out there in a way.
as always,
Yeah.
as always.
Oh, there are some questions here. All right, Fabian is asking, did you work there? Hard times looking for a job. Okay. All right, before we enter in the job thing, one thing I want to ask Victor, what can you say to people that are interested in becoming au pairs? Like, is it difficult? Is it bureaucratic? What hints can you give to them? Take notes, guys.
Well, things are becoming more and more difficult because of the time we're living in the US. In Florida, we have DeSantis that is trying to send all, like, immigrants back. Not all of them, but the ones that are illegal.
Okay.
So it's hard in Florida, and it's getting harder and harder because people are jumping the fence to get in the US.
Okay.
So this is the main problem. The second thing is Brazilians in general as all pairs are actually they are famous for being really bad all pairs.
Really?
Yeah,
Ah, okay. One more thing that
every
we have.
single family,
Congratulations to us.
exactly. Like every single family that I talked to, and like most families that I met,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like, there are so many Brazilians, and like all they want is the green card. And
Ah,
I can
okay.
say that, like, from the Brazilians that I met, that's all they want. So a lot of people go there not because of the experience, but because they are trying actually to leave their countries for good.
Okay.
So it's hard, man. It's hard to say, but we are not so,
Welcome.
yeah, welcome anymore as all pairs. But you can try.
Mm-hmm.
You're,
How old should the person be? Is there an age range, maybe?
I would say the age 21 is good to start, because if you go like when you're 18, I'm sorry, you're just too young.
Ah,
You
okay.
can't drink
Because we're taking
there.
care of kids too,
You're
right?
taking care of kids, so it takes a lot of maturity, although I don't like this word, but it
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of maturity. And well,
Should you
you are
have
going to be
a
there by yourself. So that's the thing. Anything happens in you're there by yourself with people that don't care about you, trying to solve your problems when you can't. And if you don't have a strong mind, you're going to get depressed.
So start therapy, do meditation, and start to sort your own shit out. Should you have any type of nurturing skills, or I don't know, because I
Yeah.
really don't know if you have to, I don't know, change diapers and the kid is ill and you have to do
Mhm.
something.
So the first thing is your experience. If you have experience with like toddlers,
Mm.
it might not count for babies,
Okay,
right? If you have babies, there is already like a huge difference between like changing diapers for boys and girls.
okay.
To start, it's already different.
Oh
Girls can
man.
get an infection, so you need to be like more careful. Also, like if you are a man, it's harder, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to change diapers. And like every time I was into their room, I would leave the door open. I would always be careful,
Makes total
because
sense because the parents will be concerned.
they
Okay.
don't are concerned, but I was.
Okay.
What if like the kid starts yelling and I don't know, they think that I slapped the kid?
Okay.
Like, no,
You
I
were still a
tried.
stranger in their house in a way.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And you're a man too, so
Mm-hmm.
that counts too. And I was extra careful with every single fucking step that I would take, you know? And I still made mistakes. But I would say from 21 up, you're
Okay.
good to go. Just make sure you have the profile to work with kids, because when you are a parent, it's different. When you are a parent, you are like, it's easier for you to deal with your own kids because you love them. So if you like
Yeah.
renewed in the next day to do everything all over. Oh, sorry.
No problem.
I broke the mic.
Man,
Test.
I can only imagine because I'm not a parent, and for me, it makes total sense to have a stranger in your house taking care of your kids. And you mentioned something that we're gonna cover too. A lot of parents, they are kind of slackers in a way, like they put all the responsibilities on the au
Yeah.
pair. Like you have to be like 24/7, almost literally with the kids, paying attention and everything.
Yeah, so we need to understand that that is a country that they do not know how to raise kids. They don't even know if they want to have kids, but
Really?
they do have kids because it's part of the process. It's kind of like,
A cultural thing that
yeah,
they have.
like it's
Get
life. And
married, have kids.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Get a house,
Mm-hmm.
then retire.
Go to the suburbs and buy a boat when you're a 50-year-old husband.
Exactly. And then cheat on our wife.
A lot of them do. Well, um, okay. Luis is asking, how did you end up living in US? Well, you have just told that, but how many states and cities have you been there, man?
6 states, and I don't know how many cities, but because understand, like what we call neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
For them, sometimes it's called city.
Oh, really? Like it's
Yeah.
like a ville, like
Yeah,
a small town.
kind of. So I had like cities so close that I could like be there in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Damn.
and like several cities around. Uh, in Florida, I used to live in Panama City Beach,
Okay.
and just 10 minutes like away from my house, there was this other city called Panama City. And if I go to the other side, well, you find like Fort Walton, you find a lot of other cities.
Is it easy to move around there? Like, are the things organized in a way that if you don't have a good sense of direction, you can get by?
So no, no. If you go to like big cities,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to find more signs. It's easier to drive, walk, whatever. But I lived in like a really small city, Panama City Beach. It's really small. It's pretty much like the highway and a couple of houses like this,
Uh-huh.
like Tapecininga. It's like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's not hard. You have like access to the internet. The internet there is so good.
Oh, nice.
So you just put on the GPS and go anywhere. Easy.
Okay. Marcel is saying that he's very, 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 really proud of your English. Congrats.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
What's the one thing you dislike most about leaving the US? He's asking here.
What I liked the most,
Yeah, no, that you dislike most.
man, that I dislike the most. People.
Yeah, we're gonna cover there too. Luis Alberto is saying here, I like how he said, very mature for a guy. Yeah, come on, 18-year-old guys, we are like chimps, okay? And I'm
Yeah,
not being
that's
sexist,
true.
it's just a fact.
It's true.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now tell me, okay, I know there are many, but let's talk about the most interesting one. What was the experience of culture clash you had there, Victor?
Ooh.
Yeah. From the moment you step there and like, what the hell am I doing here? Because we have a lot of impressions from United States, from series, movies, and you were told me that is not exactly like that.
So I will explain like about the 3 places that I lived. I
Okay.
visited a couple more places, but starting with Jersey,
Okay.
they speak faster. Like they speak so fast.
And it sounds like they're talking through their noses too, right?
Yeah, and like they complain a lot. Like
Really?
I in Jersey, yes. So they're like New Yorkers, but even worse because they're richer. I think that's my opinion. All right, guys. So what they do there, um, I don't like how they treat people usually because they're so fast that they don't come like, "Hey, good morning. Sorry, how do I get directions to go to somewhere?"
Mm-hmm.
And you are like they're more friendly in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So in Florida, they're like, "How's it going, man? What's going on? Please," and they're going to talk to you,
Okay.
right?
So they would be like a more open-minded.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They are the Mineiros of United States, maybe.
Pretty much.
You thought I said. Okay.
They're like from Northeast.
Yeah, and Jersey's like Campinas. I'm joking.
No, Jersey is something else, man. Jersey's something else. I feel like it's worse than New York, and New York's already bad.
Okay.
People are fast. They don't care about anything. They
It's
just
like
want to
they're
live.
in a rush
Yeah.
all the time.
Exactly. And Jersey's like that, but what you have there is a lot of status for anything. So you must be someone. Although you don't have many things, you must be someone.
Oh, they really
So
focus
you can
on
be
that.
recognized for
Okay.
something. When I went to Colorado, it's different. Americans there are nice. Like they are nice, but
I
it's
will
still
make a
like
terrible pun. I would say they're warmer because the stage is warmer, but that. Okay, you can.
It's
Oh,
really
it's
dry.
like we cannot erase that. Okay.
it's not that warm,
No.
but for sure it is sunny every day.
Nice.
I think I got like 5 days of rain when I was there.
Was it when you were focusing on your workouts there? Was it during this time?
Yeah. But man, I miss that.
Yes.
I was working out in a very, very good gym. Like people were so nice. The the front desk girl would talk to me like, "Hey, how's it going? Good." You know, like, "Hey, do your thing.
Okay,
Go
like
and work
motivate,
out."
like egg you want motivate you.
Yeah, and like, "Hey, Victor," they like call you by your name.
Ah,
"Hey, Victor, how's it going? Man, have a good workout."
this is a very interesting thing for you to tell us because we cannot generalize the whole country. Like, oh, Americans are like these. They are rude, and it depends on the state mostly.
Yeah, they
Okay.
have their own culture. And if you go to Florida, that's where I have the rednecks.
I
So
like them.
I want to marry my cousin. They speak like that. So that's how they talk. It's kind of hard to understand some of them. There's this guy there called James. He used to work with me. I used to work in a hotel there.
Okay.
And he used to work with me, and he was always happy. And like his accent, man, I really wanted to have that accent.
It was I don't know what's going on over here, but
Every time, same thing. Like you would say, "Hey James, what's up?" And he would be like, "What's going on, man? Same old, same old."
nice.
And they don't say like the pronunciation of a couple words is different. So they don't say there, they say there. I'll go
Beer.
there. I'll go there, and you know.
I'll go there. Nice. I'm gonna tell you some story right now.
And something else. Uh,
I wish I could talk like that all the
when you're
time.
connecting words, you shouldn't say like "I'm gonna do something." It's better if you say "I'm gonna do something." Gonna.
But the
These
ama
days,
is common
I'm
too.
gonna like you can say that, but not in every state. And I feel like this is more something that black people would say because they
Mm.
speak faster. So depending on where you are, if you say like that, they're going to understand sometimes and sometimes not.
Ah, okay. There is the accent too thing.
Yeah, because you have already an accent. So
Yeah.
when you're speaking to them, they might not get you, you know.
Ah, yeah, that happened to me, the Frankenstein English.
Yeah.
Well, was it tough to adapt to their accent there, or was like weeks? Because we have the whole neuroplasticity thing.
So I'm young. Neuroplasticity is good for like learning to the age of 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So I was good so far. So I learned English there. Like I knew already English here, but I really learned the accent, like the intonation.
Pieces. Yeah.
Exactly. There. But what's the thing? I kind of got like my accent from different places. So depending on the word I'm using a different pronunciation.
Ah, okay. So it gets a little in the way.
Yeah.
Okay, how was the okay, let's be open about it. I had a lot of friends, and I had this teacher. We used to work together, and she told me. I always ask, okay, how is the whole flirting thing there? You know, because Brazilians we have the kind of the Don Juan fame thing, you know, like the Casanova thing. Oh, Latino people, they're friendlier. They would go and talk to girls. What was the impression you had from there? She told me, "Oh, Mike, the guys there they don't start conversations. I would go to clubs to dance, see an attractive guy there, and he would basically be there standing, you know."
So Latinos go for it, you know.
Yeah.
But
So if you go there
Americans are not.
single,
I would say that just the only thing, be basic. Whatever you're going to do, like be basic.
Mhm.
So don't try to have like that soccer player haircut or a mullet. If you're not like pretty person, if you do that, I'm sorry, man, it's going to look ridiculous.
Okay.
So even though you have that attitude, it's still not going to call their attention much.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say be basic. And the first rule of flirting is you must like to flirt before anything. Like enjoy the conversation. You don't go there thinking like, oh my god, it would be so good to have that girl.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
go
yeah.
more like just see if she's
I'm in another
interesting for you.
country. I see a pretty girl. Let's see what happens here.
So don't be needy. That's the thing, you know.
Mm.
And
Are they
Americans,
open then to Brazilians? If you go, if a
Yeah,
Brazilian guy goes there and
yeah.
say, "Oh, I saw you and I liked you,"
but that's one I
how they
used
would
to.
react, you know.
That's the thing. My mistakes. Right. So when I would hit on a girl,
All
for
guys
example,
taking notes right now.
don't really say like, "Oh, I'm from Brazil. Like, I love it here," or anything like this.
Uh-huh.
Just go and talk. Simple. If you go and saying that you are Brazilian, like thinking that this is something else around there,
Mhm.
it's not.
It has to be a natural part of the conversation. Oh, you sound differently. Where are you from? And then,
Exactly.
oh,
Just present yourself like that. It will be easier for you to make friends and everything. Because, like I said, some people don't see like immigrants as like good people. They
ah,
see
okay,
more
they're a
like,
little xenophobic in a way. Like,
yes,
these people come
yeah.
here to get our jobs.
Some of them are like that,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them are more like, man, what is this guy doing here?
I
You
understand. They're
know?
suspicious in a way. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
in the in group.
Not saying that like Americans are all honest and like good
Okay.
people, but they like attach like all this robbery and things that are getting worse to the immigrants, and
Mm-hmm.
actually they are not wrong. You know?
Okay, you have this happen. It's like a
Yeah,
social crisis happening there too.
yeah.
All right. As in one immigrant perspective, man, what were the biggest hassles there? Because you were far from your family. I don't know. It's one of the questions that uh, somebody asked you here in the chat. I don't know how easy it is for an immigrant to get a job there, too. Like you are, some people they just go there and they, I need to find a job. And so, what was the biggest hassles for an immigrant living there?
Okay, so unless you are disabled,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to find a job there. You can like, what time is it now, for example?
20 to 7.
All right. So if you go now, you could probably find a job to start tomorrow morning. And if you go like at 3, 4 o'clock and try to find another job, you probably be very likely to get one.
Really?
Yeah,
What type of jobs would there be available?
it's hard to get in restaurants
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. You can get like, depends on the city, you know. But like in my city, Panama City Beach,
Mm-hmm.
I worked in a hotel. That's all we had. It was either that, cleaning stuff, or construction. So I went to the hotels and I worked there. I would clean rooms, but that's all you can do. Unless you can cut hair. Like if you know how to cut hair, if you know how to polish nails, and
Okay. The cosmetic industry
man,
there, you have a lot of opportunities there.
because the only people that are there doing that stuff, it's either a guy that learned how to cut a hair in prison. Man, they're horrible. I could like I got a haircut cut once, man. It was either way.
They have pictures.
Man, no.
Come on.
What the fuck? No. So that's
We
one
would
thing.
put on the screen. No, I'm joking.
And the Chinese people that polish nails and all, man, they're horrible.
Really?
They're horrible. They like you go there and you're like, hello, how are you? You wanna get nails? And they don't really speak English and they speak so loud. And
Is where you had the tip thing. Leave a tip. Leave a tip.
some of them are like that, but not all of
Yeah.
them.
And what was with the hen house thing? You said that you had to clean chicken poop there. What was the job?
You get any job that you can, like when you need to
I
raise
need
money.
a chicken poop cleaner.
So there are websites that you can go and access and find jobs like this, but they're not like fixed jobs.
But it was like a farmstead or something like that.
I've been to this like farmhouse,
Okay.
and I cleaned a little lake, like really small lake for ducks.
Okay.
And
They poop a lot.
man,
They walk and
they
poop.
just poop. Like I went
Two
there
quacks, one poop.
once. I wouldn't have time to finish everything because there was so much to do. So I returned in the next day. It was looking just like as bad as it was the day before when I didn't clean. So
Damn.
they poop so much. They poop, man. It's horrible, but it was good. It was a good experience. There was a goose that was scared of me, and
They are assholes in a way. They always come with it.
that's
Yeah, they do like
exactly.
Yeah.
this one started running after me, and I got crazy. Like it
You
was
were
kind of a cage, so I was like
it was like
inside,
MMA fighting the goose.
and the goose was like, and he would go like,
Yeah, they do like with their son. It's like, I'll kill you. I'll
Exactly.
cut you.
man, I was desperate. I was like, man, this just, oh my god, it was going to kill me. I had that in my mind, so I couldn't open the door to get out of there. It was funny, and well, shitty animal.
What you have to do in this case, you need to pretend you're afraid when he goes, because they always go like this, and then they will use their beak.
Man, he
You will put
flew
your
on my
head
face.
behind their head, and you will catch them like this. When you lift them from the floor, they bug like, I have a picture to show you. I have a picture. If you remember next podcast, we can put it live. I'm holding the goose.
The goose.
Yeah, when they move their feet is not touching the. I don't know if it's a balancing thing or they imagine you are a predator. But yeah, I have to teach you some keys skills. Somebody asked here, I think was Luis, how was the relation between? Yeah, it's a true story, man.
I need to watch more Animal Planet.
Yeah. How was the relation between you and the family you took care of the babies?
So I had three families. The first one started good, but they were not completely honest with me. But I was not experienced
Mm.
at being an au pair, so I made so many mistakes that I regret. So I see that a lot of everything that happened was my fault because I knew English, I could communicate. So that lack of communication made everything so much more difficult.
Mm.
So it's hard, man, to say now. Like, I have another view of all that. So the first family, I say that it's my fault.
Okay.
I tried my best at the time. I know that, but still, it was not a good experience. So when I went to the second family, I went the other way around. I tried something else. I tried to be like more acceptive, talk more, and I did that.
I imagine
But it was not my fault, and they were kicked out from the agency in the end.
they were
I had
kicked
a
out.
really bad argument with one of the fathers. Yeah, there were two fathers.
Okay.
They are a gay couple. So I used to take care of twins. The girls were 2 years old at the time, and I just really I felt so bad there.
It's normal, and I imagine something that is something that you could give us another tip. I imagine when you are far from everything you know and you are familiar with your family, your friends, would you feel sad and depressed there? And what could you say to people, the whole emotional load that they feel when they're that? What's a good way to deal with that? Because I imagine it's very lonely.
It is indeed. So just to finish, like I had my third family after that, and that family like made everything worth it.
Nice.
You know, but it was my last family. I was more experienced. Probably if I got that family first, because I was not so like I was not ready for that. I was not so experienced. It wouldn't be good.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was my last family, I was more mature about it.
Okay.
It worked pretty well. So what I'm trying to say here is you need to learn how to be an au pair. And it takes like a year and a half to learn how to deal better with the kids and with the family, which is the main thing because you are living with your boss. And that sucks. If you don't know how to deal with that, because if you know how to deal with that, then man, it was the best experience that I had in my life.
Nice.
I wouldn't change anything about it. But going back to your question, which what was it?
About the emotional load, how do you deal with the loneliness there? Because I don't know, the time, the time zone is a bit different, so it's not all the time that you have friends available to chat. And I don't know, what would you do when you were too much in your head?
So if you are like very passive about everything, it's not a good place for you. You're going to kill yourself.
Mm,
But if you
it's
are too
that hard.
defensive, if you are like, oh, uh, I say it, I don't care. If you want to tell me, fine, I'm going to say it to you. If you are this kind of person, it's probably bad too for you.
Okay.
So you must be that person that knows how to deal with yourself and with your own family first. It starts from your own family. So, do you have a good relationship with your mom, with your dad? Sometimes you don't have either a mom or dad, but do you
Mm-hmm.
have a good relationship with your family? Because if you do, then this can be very positive for you. If not, I'm sorry. You were alone in Brazil and you're going alone to another country, and restart is not simple. You
Mm-hmm.
might feel better at the beginning, but things kick hard in the end. So I was depressed there. I wouldn't say that I'm depressive or that I was depressive,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, I had phases there that I was facing sadness and it was tough. What helped me because of my personality was I did not have any resources, like any way out. So
Okay.
I couldn't afford to go to a therapist at the time. I couldn't go to a hospital. I
It's
had
expensive there too.
really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I could do was search for information. So I learned how to read articles, knowing that it's not always like correct to follow an article, but you
Mm-hmm.
should go and like search about it. And I learned how to do that. I learned how to like studying, something that I didn't do back here in
Uh-huh.
Brazil.
That's how you got to marketing.
That's how I learned pretty much 70% of everything that I know nowadays.
Damn, a lot.
Yeah. So I had time only for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I learned everything. I had to study, I had to learn how to deal with myself. I had to understand how I work. So I went I went from physiology to like neuroscience to understand how I work so I could treat myself. I could put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't for my personality, I would probably be dead by now.
Yeah, it's a similar path that I've taken through. I wanted to, why am I feeling like this? Why am I thinking
Hmm.
that? Then I went to the whole things I like to study today. Now, tell me, what was it with marketing? Because now you work with that, and how was the
Yeah.
whole thing from au pair to okay, I'm gonna be a traffic manager now.
So it started from my uncle. He is really successful in his job,
Okay,
and he told me that, hey, if you study marketing or anything, I could put you in the company. You
okay,
could work with me, and I could help you. You know. So I was like, okay, I'm going there. I'm going to study anything that has something about marketing.
okay.
So the first thing that I studied with that $500 was content marketing, and from the from Penn University in Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and I just kept studying. I just wanted so bad to like be successful somehow, change my family, and that was the fuel for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly, every single fucking person in Brazil was doing like traffic management.
Uh-huh.
So
You started to see the pop-ups all
yeah,
the
the
time.
pop-ups and traffic management and Pedro Sobral and guys like this. And I was like, holy crap, what's going on in Brazil? Because a lot of people got rich during the pandemic because they started doing that and because they started selling like, I don't know, brigadeiro
Yeah, anything.
at home.
Yeah.
And through that, like they were like distributing like flyers, on the internet.
Yeah.
So people can access, you can even like sell it to anybody that you want. You just set their like their age, their like gender, whatever, and you
Mhm.
can sell it to the person.
Mhm.
So I was like, I just need to learn the tools. So I started learning more and more. And the more I studied, the more I saw that in the US, they suck at marketing.
Really?
They suck at marketing. The biggest companies are kind of good with that.
Okay.
But if you get like an American marketing campaign from Coke and a Brazilian one, you will see that Brazil is a lot better.
Really? I had it totally twisted in my head because they have those brand wars there that Conar prohibits here, you know. And when I was at the university, this was like, I don't know how many years ago. I feel old again. But it was something that fascinated me because in the whole semester we were studying this trend there, that what they do, like Burger King attacking McDonald's and Coke versus Pepsi, the Halloween campaigns. Oh, happy Halloween for us. And I imagine they were ahead of us, so they aren't.
No, they're not. Big companies might be,
Okay.
but not all of them. Like I would say Apple,
Okay.
but they don't even do like traffic management
Yeah.
anymore. They pretty much just go in like, hey guys, iPhone 15's coming. And then everybody starts talking about it, and that's their marketing. Other people talking about their product
Yeah.
because they have already the name, the brand,
Yeah.
you
The
know?
market share they have is ridiculous. Yeah.
Exactly. So when it comes to the US, they are far behind us in marketing. Every single place that you go here will have a website, telephone number, everything.
Really? So is okay. What would you say we do better than them?
Soccer,
No, I mean in Brazil, in terms of marketing.
marketing.
Yeah.
First of all, they don't even have like a telephone number. They don't have like a good website. They don't announce online. They don't advertise online.
Mm.
So this is ridiculous.
So they don't use the basic tools that people that are into digital marketing are
No.
using today.
And they still sell. Very few companies really like close their doors.
Ah, okay.
They still sell. So imagine if they could like really add digital marketing to their companies.
Man, that's great. It's very counterintuitive here.
So that's what I'm doing. And
Ah,
English helped me.
nice. One question from Leticia here. What would you surprise people about leaving the US? When a Brazilian guy arrives there, leaves the airport, what would be the first things that surprise them?
Big cars. You would say, I would say like SUVs, like trucks, like big cars everywhere. Every fucking where you will see like Dodge Rams. You would see like, it's crazy how Honda Civic is so like
It's cheap there.
so popular and cheap. You would buy like a brand new one, I think, for like 28 or 29,000 dollars.
Damn.
So this, and I would say, depending on the state, of course, but
Mhm.
my first impression, I've been to Jersey. I thought that everybody would have like blue eyes and all. Nope. Me with my green eyes, I was different. So it's
It's a
crazy.
stereotype that we have here in Brazil too.
Yeah. If you
Uh,
go to like Florida, you would find like more blondes and like
mhm.
blue eyes and like this. But around there, barely any.
Man, we have a lot of misconceptions about that. You know, what about the foods there? People say that it's only fast food. Is that accurate or?
No, you have also like American food, but nothing's fresh.
What is American food?
That's the point. If you go to like for example, Florida,
Okay.
North Florida, we have like, because it's close to Alabama, to Mississippi, New Orleans on the other side, it will be easy to find like typical food because they have like the black community,
Mm-hmm.
they have their own kind of food.
Nice.
But if you go up north, like New York, Boston, you have a mix of every single kind of food that you can find in the world. So the only thing is, nothing is fresh.
Ah,
So you eat like one plate of food and you are going to be not satisfied, full. You might still want to eat, but you're feeling
okay.
like there's food to your neck.
Damn.
So that's something negative, but that's their food.
What's the typical foods the families have there?
Oof.
Like I don't know, mashed potato, peas, and a steak.
Well, it's typical to have that. They like to put bacon and sausage and things and everything.
I like that.
But I would say that going to New Orleans is going to be the best American food experience you can have. They are very famous for their restaurants, and if you go there, go and like one of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life. Po' boys. Just going po'
What's
boys.
the name?
Po' boys.
Po' boys.
Po'
Okay.
boys.
Pole boys.
Pobois.
Okay.
Po' boys.
Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but there is a certain adventure that someone had there. What was with the Pantera concert,
Oh
man?
shit.
Yeah, tell us. That's an interesting thing.
So I was living in Panama City Beach back then, and I was living in like it's a complex of apartments called Pier Park.
Okay.
And in this place, right beside that, there is like a huge park, like a national park. And in a certain area of that park, they do concerts and events and all that shit. So there was a week of events called Thunder Beach,
Okay.
and I heard like that Rob Zombie was going. I'm like, I'm going.
Okay.
So I could watch for free from my yard, and people from the apartments can actually access the park from there. There's a gate, so
Oh.
we could go there. So I watched Leonard Skinner. I watched Candlebox, Rob Zombie, and in the last day, Pantera was going to play. Pantera is one of my favorite bands of all time.
You are also a guitar player, so
I'm
yeah.
also a guitar player.
Yeah.
Dimebag Darrell is one of my favorite guitar players, and he died on stage in 2004. So after like Pantera broke
Mm-hmm.
and there was Damage Plan, and then Phil and Rex Brown with other groups, nobody ever thought that you would be able to see Pantera again.
Okay.
But then they invited Zach Wild and they invited Charlie Benanti. So when they put all the guys together, they have that chemistry that is amazing. So they started doing the tours. So they played here in Brazil. And then that was the first concert that they had in the US, and I was there. So guys, please don't do that, all right?
Yeah, we're not incentivizing you to do.
Please
But
don't.
it's a hell of a story anyway.
So at the time I was working in the hotel, Pantera was back together. I was like, I want it. So I would go to this concert. And I'm like, I'm not going to the hotel. I'm not working that day. I don't care. I will go to the concert. And back in the hotel, I was a houseman. So I would work with a radio and like a phone.
Okay.
You know? So I went home after work. I took a shower. I didn't stay until later. I just went home. I took a shower and I dressed up all black. Black pants and everything and black shirt. And I got the radio. And the radio I hung the radio on my pants. And then I was like, I'm going to go in. So I went in. I watched the best concert I've ever watched in my life. I saw Zach Wild. He was like pretty much the same distance that Mike is from me now.
You pretended you was one of the bouncers there. I pretended
I was one of the staff guys. So I got in there.
You sound like, okay, do you know where's Michael? Do you know Michael?
I will get to this part. After the song ended, the concert ended, I was like, man, I know the place. I used to live there, so I know the place. I will go there. I'm going to talk to the guys. I knew where the trailers were parked.
Oh.
So I'm like, no fucking way, I'll go. So I started going, and when it started to get like more difficult to get in, I started, sorry, just a moment, and I would get like the radio, the mic. Yes, go ahead. Okay, I'm on my way, and I would go, and then I would ask guys, hey, have you seen Michael? Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, have you seen Michael? And then they were like, "Yeah. Oh no, man, haven't seen him in a while." So I was like, okay, there is
There's
a
a
Michael.
Michael.
There is a Michael. So
And that's crazy that nobody ever, like, had a clue.
in the end, I went on the back and I got into the trailers and I saw Phil Anselmo. I talked to the guy and
He
I
showed me
saw
the picture.
everybody. Man, I saw everybody. We talked to them. It was crazy, man, crazy. I was there for so long talking to Phil, and then he went away, and then I was like, I'll stay here. My buddy was with me,
Yeah.
and so we stood there, and I was like, man, they're going to invite us for dinner. Just wait here. So we were there for probably like more, and now like 1 hour or 1.5 hours more, and then the security guy kicked us out.
Okay.
I almost had dinner with them. I was so sure that we were going to have dinner with them.
Man, that's one of the craziest
Yeah,
stories I've heard. But okay, you don't do that.
don't
But
do that.
I'm glad you survived.
Man,
All right.
I met Phil.
Man, final message to our viewers, people who are struggling with English that want to go abroad. I don't know. It really changed you. I'm glad to see him, and it's been a
Yeah.
little time that you're back, and I'm very proud to be part of the little journey you had there. Right.
So, study English. It's not going to take so long to learn English. It's going to take years to make it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still getting there. And it will take probably 5, 10 more years for me to have a perfect English, but it's a goal that I have. But to learn English and communicate, it took me like less than 12 months. No, less than 13 months. I remember that. And I was already speaking English. I was already understanding the TV shows and the movies. So all I can say is trust the process, trust the method because it's effective. You will learn English. Might not be in the level that you want, but everything can get better. Just like this. Keep working on it. That's all.
Nice. And if you want to go abroad, please don't break in the concert backstage. Okay?
True.
Guys, thank you so much for the messages. Don't forget to like the video, share. We are posting these episodes weekly. Okay? We do them live here and hope to see you on our next episode of Talking Times. Bye bye.
I have to say bye to.